I started by writing a script, and it was basically taken out of this Vodun idea of the crossroad and what they call the Marasa, the divine twins. And this was because I was feeling very fractured as a person, partially because of the way I'd been raised. Yeah, the general character of the West Indian life, including my own, that's being portrayed in River's first draft. There is a kind of frustration, a kind of beating back against the wall that's shutting you out, you know? When my parents came, rather than being allowed to live the American dream, they were demoted to the bottom of the American dream. I had an older sister, Devonia, and my parents had sort of divided the best of themselves and put it onto her, and then put the worst of themselves onto me, you know. So it was kind of, it was a pretty Jungian way to grow up. And I was struggling for a lot of my life to try to pull it back together again, because it had no real reality. I didn't believe that I was the worst. I just refused to believe that I was the worst, but I had to struggle to get back the good parts of me, and so reconnecting the various parts of myself, the various ages of myself, was something that I was doing mentally, but not in any artistic or performative sense, you know? So the first thing I did was to write a script, the joining the themes with the aesthetic of simultaneity in particular, that really, simultaneity and difference and unification, the crossroad. Those were the prime things that motivated me to in the script that I wrote. When you enter the scene, what you would be seeing was something you couldn't figure out where to land your eyes, because there was a three-ring circus, you know. But I did have a radius in the center of the action, where I had lined up the little girl dressed in white with a pink sash, and then the teenager in magenta, and then the woman in red. And then sort of slightly off to the side was the mother figure, the woman in white, and on the further down in the stream, she was up sort of, I guess you could call her up in the hills, you know, looking down on everything. And then from the top of the hill on that side, down came the debauchees. Well, you know, I was not too far away from my rock and roll days, you know. I mean, you know, you can imagine, you know, a 35-year-old groupie, but that's what I was, you know. What can I tell you? I was going from one set of sort of like psychosexual circumstances that were not really going to get me anywhere, you know, lead me to the real me, to another, you know. And so the debauchees represented that this total distraction and attraction. There are other people, the art snobs. Their prompt was just to talk about the sort of stuff that people talk about in the art world when they're trying to be smarter than thou and put others down. Snobs, not art fans or aficionados, but snobs. You know, everything in it is allegorical, you know. I mean, even the woman in red is not really me, you know. It's a type, you know. These are all types. They are representing a type of an exaggeration of the frustrations of women with talent and ideas that they were facing in the 70s and the 80s in a misogynistic world, you know. And to the extent that misogyny was present at every institution, I mean, did I ever find one that was where it wasn't? No. Even to this day, I mean, River's First Draft is the piece that I have on my desk. This is the piece that has every theme that I've ever worked with, and it's the piece that comes out of who I am rather than what I'm reacting to.